In the headlines, Caribbean leaders to discuss critical issues. Caribbean leaders to discuss critical issues at the 48th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM. Barbados joins efforts to improve the representation of people of African descent in biotechnology and biomedical research. The estimates debate continues in Parliament. And in sports, Reynolds Weeks and All Saints share the spoils in the Anton Norris Zone.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening to you and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us for this evening's delayed presentation. Pressing issues affecting the Caribbean will come under the microscope during the 48th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM. The opening ceremony started around 6 this evening and just wrapped up at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center. Among the top priorities are strategies to tackle escalating crime and regional security threats, initiatives to enhance food and nutrition security, and efforts to confront the growing climate crisis and secure access to climate finance. Additionally, the ongoing challenges in Haiti remain a significant point of discussion as leaders seek to forge solutions for long-standing instability. Prime Minister Mia Amor-Maudsley says, given the global uncertainties, regional leaders have a responsibility to reform CARICOM.
We have spoken for too long as to the need for independent funding mechanisms, whether it is assessed at the imports, whether it is an issue of a small fee for all border passings, people coming in and out of our borders, or whether it is the assignment of renewable energy licenses to CARICOM and our regional institutions. The time is upon us for settling the independent funding of this Caribbean community.
Pia Maudsley adds the people of Haiti must be at the center of the matters to be addressed at the meeting.
Their situation continues to be of major concern to us, and it is not going to be sufficient just to be able to say that Haiti will have an election on November 15th. It is not going to be sufficient to just stabilize the security situation of Haiti. 30 years ago, when I came to public life, my Prime Minister at the time made his first trip when he was sworn in to Washington to deal with the issue of Haiti. 30 years on, we are dealing with it again. In the absence of a proper development plan that sees the people of Haiti, that gives them minimum rights of education and access to health care and all of the other basic rights that we fight for our own citizens.
Secretary General of CARICOM, Dr. Carla Barnett, says the Secretariat looks forward to benefiting from Prime Minister Mia Amor-Maudsley's vast experience during her chairmanship and has every confidence in her leadership, especially amid the current global uncertainties. She stresses that the current challenges cannot be effectively addressed in isolation.
In our region, which accounts for less than 1% of the global population, we know that if we are to decisively counter and surmount the adverse effects of our development, we must redouble collective efforts, pool our combined wisdom, and act on the basis of our fundamental intrinsic principles.
Now, outgoing Chairman, Grenada's Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell highlighted the effects of climate change on the region, pointing to Hurricane Beryl, the most recent system to hit Grenada and devastate other regional countries. Prime Minister Mitchell called for partnership in combating climate change.
In fact, we are not asking for sympathy. We are asking for partnership. And make no mistake about it, we have one planet. I don't know about you, but I'm sure I'm not going to live on Mars. And so it may be the Caribbean islands today, or the islands in the Pacific tomorrow, or Spain, or New Orleans, or Australia, it is one planet. And we are simply asking for partnership in tackling the challenges of climate change and in protecting and sustaining the lives, the livelihoods, and the cultures of the people who are most prone to devastating impacts.
Barbados is now part of an effort to improve the representation of people of African descent in biotechnology and biomedical research. This came about as the government of Barbados and Biomedex, a European biotech company, signed a letter of intent this morning at Ilaro Court. Officials from the company, Export Barbados, as well as Barbados Prime Minister Mia Motley and President of the EU Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, were on hand during the signing. Prime Minister Motley highlighted that there's been very little research in the pharmaceutical industry focusing on the African genetic makeup. She noted, for example, that less than 7% of those tested for diabetes are of African descent.
It is of great concern to us because I often say in our country that we are suffering from a diabetes epidemic, and therefore the pharmacological efficacy of the pharmaceuticals really does matter to us. And this is where the rubber is going to hit the ground for Bajans, Caribbean people, and indeed Africans across the world, not just in Africa, but in the diaspora, because we need to shift the attention of the pharmaceutical industry to be able, particularly in an era of personalized medicine, precision medicine, to be able to shift it to allow us to be equally the beneficiaries of the wonderful research that's being done.
The EU is also partnering with Barbados in the renewable energy sector as the country launches the Renew Stable Barbados project.
And together with Hydrogène de France, we've just signed the first green hydrogen storage project in Barbados. For us, it's important that renewable energy is homegrown, and therefore it's cheaper. It gives you energy independence, and it gives you energy security, and it is the energy of the future because it's clean energy.
The Renew Stable Barbados project integrates the use of solar technology and on-site green hydrogen storage to provide a reliable, stable and clean electricity supply to Barbados. As the EU Commission President engages with regional leaders this week at the CARICOM Heads of Government meetings, discussions will be held on duplicating the project all across the region. For the first time in its history, Agro Fest will include a Venezuelan contingent, and organizers have promised a bigger, better event this year with other foreign teams including Guyana, Cuba, and St. Lucia. Rachel Agard attended and files this report.
Patrons attending this year's Agro Fest can expect to see a fusion of Latin America and the Caribbean. There will be 2 Venezuelan teams, including 7 exhibitors and a band. Barbados Ambassador to Venezuela, Commander Aquinas Clark, says the overarching intent is to create partnerships going forward.
They're going to be displaying fruits, they're going to be displaying coffee, animal feeds, they're going to be speaking about animal genetics, they're going to be speaking about electronics. In front of me there's a piece of rope. In Barbados, we treat this plant as a pest. It's called the agave plant in Spanish. When I saw it, I was amazed. And they actually made this rope. This is natural fiber rope from the agave plant. Added to that, they also make a drink from the agave plant, which is the Venezuelan tequila called cucuy.
President of the Barbados Agricultural Society, Henderson Williams, notes all commodity groups of the BAS will be in attendance.
So we're going to be having an exposition over the next few days, teaching Barbadians, educating Barbadians, sharing the knowledge that persons like His Excellency Clark is out there working in the interest of Barbadians and looking to see how we can benefit from the relationships that we have in other territories. Certainly, the grandeur the experience, the fund of Agro Fest is going to be on a massive, massive scale this year.
Meanwhile, Mayor Officer of Venezuela's Iribarren municipality and the president of the Abastecera company, Fidel Oropeza, says due to sanctions imposed on the country, they became producers of a number of products. He was speaking through an interpreter.
Venezuela currently are producing 90% of the food that people are eating. Yeah. And they're also building a new economic model that can offer the opportunity of export the production.
All school-aged children have been encouraged to attend the exhibition on Friday. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Well, coming up, a call for more consideration and assistance for children with cognitive challenges. As Barbados responds to meeting the needs of children with physical disabilities, Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs Kirk Humphrey wants the country to do the same for those with cognitive challenges. He says such persons face several issues because their cognitive disability is not easy to assess. Minister Humphrey's comments came as debate continued on the estimates head for his ministry.
A lot of these cognitive disabilities, the ones that are not quite overt, are not easy to assess from people who are not trained. And in many cases, a lot of these disabilities are discovered late. But I do know that the Ministry of Education has restarted the program of assessing. I know that they're going to be employing some other tools to be able to assess persons who have disabilities.
During the estimates, we also heard that necessary repair work has been undertaken to restart the mangrove agricultural project. It's an initiative to help members of the differently abled community become entrepreneurs so they can be more independent. The update was provided by the acting director of the National Disabilities Unit, Wayne Nurse, in response to a query by MP for St. Michael East, Trevor Prescott.
When we were about to start again, was the time we had COVID, nothing could happen. The place was overgrown with bush again. We also have a wooden structure on the compound which needed, it is out of wood. You know, after a time, anything out of wood, you get problems happening. But what we are planning to do this time around, we are almost ready to start. We were able to repair the facility where we do the training in. We were able to debush the area. This costs a lot of money because we had to get rid of a lot of trees and so on. We still have the agreement in place with the union. We are working in collaboration with the Barbados Council for the Disabled. They will supply the persons, they will be the human resource. So we are almost ready.
Barbados has signed off with a philanthropic donor to renovate and upgrade the Joris Dunner Elderly Care Center located at Golden Rock in the Pine. Acting Director of the National Assistance Board, Colleen Walcott, shared the information in response to questions about the facility's future posed by Deputy Prime Minister and MP for St. Michael South East, Santia Bradshaw. The center was closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic and used over the past years as a transitional facility and for the displaced.
And the timeline that we're looking to start at based on the process and everything, we're looking at around October, November this year to give us some time to find alternative accommodation for the homeless men. But when that facility is upgraded, one of the things that persons with wheelchairs are excluded right now because there's no wheelchair access in the pathway or even the bathrooms. So we're going to upgrade the facility to make it more, give a more better quality and environment. But yes, we've gotten that commitment and we've signed off on that donor letter.
MP for St. Michael East, Trevor Prescott, is calling for greater access for members of the disabled community.
I know that the disabled community was complaining. Some of them said to me once they never saw the garrison, Savannah. Some never had an opportunity to come into town all that was required. Nobody required magic. The concepts were expressed in here, policies are expressed in here, but most of the businesses in the city and some of the areas belong to the private sector. Are they really responding, not to the dictates, but to the humane, appreciate the humane effort that we're making in order to create a society that is very inclusive.
Sports is just ahead with Damien Best.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
Time now for sports with Damien Best.
Yes, good evening to you, Tisha. Good evening to our viewers and listeners. We start with some track and field news. Reynold Weeks Primary claimed the girls' title, while they share the boys' crown with the defending champions All Saints Primary in the Anton Norris Zone at the 2025 Chefette Frosties National Primary Schools Athletics Championships. Competing at the Usain Bolt Sports Complex today, Reynold Weeks Primary took the girls' title with 292 points, 48 points more than second place All Saints on 244, and Hillaby Turner's Hall Primary on third, that is, on 167 points. Reynold Weeks then amassed the same 230 points as All Saints to share the boys' title. Welch's Primary were third with 136 points. CBC's Anna Margaret Boyce reports.
Day 3 of NAPSAT 2025 welcomed the athletes in the Anton Norris Zone at the Usain Bolt Sports Complex. Under 7 girls 50-meter dash to begin with, and it's Rakai Burgess of Reynold Weeks who wins in 10.48 seconds. Shakai Innes of St. Joseph Primary was second, and Kalia Hoyt of Deacons third. Up next, the fastest section of the under 7 boys. No need to ask why. Just look at this impressive performance from Giovanni Lucas Hemmings of Reynold Weeks. New record, 8.78. Amari Bootman of St. Joseph was a distant second, while Rochelle Lawrence of Cuthbert Moore was third. Still with the under 7 boys 50-meter final section, and it belonged to Kalani Charles St. Hill of Hillaby Turner's Hall, 10.23. Well done. Michael Herber of Welch's Primary took second, and third went to Kimani Thomas of All Saints. Moving along to the under 9 girls 80 meters, and check this out. Takeja Foster of All Saints is marching in on victory, 13.88 seconds, the winning time. Sumara Belgrave of Reynold Weeks came second, and Tarisha Rowe Headley of Welch's was third. And it was back-to-back victories for All Saints because Janaya Barrow was in cruise control of the contest, winning in the fastest time of 12.86. Elena Trockman-Seeley of Hillaby Turner's Hall finished second, and third went to Chloe Tudor of Welch's. Two of the boys equivalent now, and from the start, the others were playing catch-up because Josiah Jackman of Reynold Weeks had already wrapped it up in 13.32. Cristiano Beckles of Grantley Prescott was second, and Leon Griffith of All Saints third. Final section of the under 9 boys 80-meter, and once again, Reynold Weeks were in the winner's circle. They just could not stop Mackay Garnes, who clocked 12.75. He finished ahead of Roger Watson of Welch's Primary and Nakari Johnson Stout of Cuthbert Moore. The first 3 zones are over. NAPSAT continues next week Monday with the James Wedderburn Zone. Anmar Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
Thanks, Anmar. Cricket news now. Tom Latham and Will Young both hit centuries as New Zealand kicked off their ICC Champions Trophy campaign with a 60-run win over host Pakistan in Karachi today. Young scored his first overseas ODI century, 107, while Latham hit his 8th ton, 118 not out, as New Zealand posted 320 for 5. Well, in reply, Pakistan were bowled out for 260 with 2.4 overs remaining. Tomorrow's match will see Bangladesh against India, and that starts at 5 a.m. Barbados time. Live coverage will be on MCTV's ESPN channel 308. That is the first half in sports. When we come back, we've got more news for you. Don't move a muscle.
All right, well, thank you so much, Damien. Up next on CBC's Newsnight, the Business Report. Barbados is set to benefit from trade linkages between Venezuela and this country. The country welcomed its first shipment of a half-ton of pineapples from the Latin American country today, coming out of a December meeting with a delegation from Iribarren. Barbados Ambassador to Venezuela, Commander Aquinas Clark, says this is just the beginning as he continues to work on opening this important cargo route. He says this will help move product to and from Latin America at a fraction of the current cost as they enhance the South-South cooperation.
In this visit, one of the meetings we're going to be having is with the Barbados Manufacturers Association. That's this afternoon. And the idea is to ask them, what raw materials do you need to help you for the production of your products that we can look for in Venezuela and put you over in touch with those people to be able to help you to be able to produce products at a level that you'll be able to export them outside of Barbados. That is extremely important. So it's not a one-sided relationship. The idea is to create opportunities also for Barbadian businesses to be able to export not only to Venezuela but to other countries in Latin America.
Meanwhile, Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agricultural Society, James Paul, says he will be pushing for Barbadian farmers to follow Venezuela's example, as it is time for Barbados to achieve a type of regional security that will benefit all countries in the region.
In the same way that it's successful in the whole pineapple experiment, we can be successful too. All right. In the same way, for instance, they recognize that they have raw materials growing wild in their land that they have utilized. We can do the same thing with the same cabbage and the same agave. We can do the same thing. It is that Agro Fest offers us that opportunity to help Barbadians to come to that type of awareness, and let us do it.
Rating agency Fitch has affirmed an AA+ with a stable outlook on the Caribbean Development Bank's long-term issuer default rating. It noted that this was underpinned by very high liquidity and excellent capitalization. Fitch says this assessment underscores the bank's resilient financial performance and robust governance standards. In Fitch's view, the process to transition to a new president this month was consistent with the bank's high governance standards. It added that CDB's capital levels have returned to pre-pandemic stability, which highlights the resilience of the bank's capitalization, supported by its strong loan performance, overall high solvency, reinforcing its financial stability. Fitch assesses CDB's liquidity as very high, which is driven by excellent liquidity, buffers, and the excellent credit quality of the bank's treasury portfolio. Here's how stocks traded locally and regionally today.
In Jamaica, Wicton Energy Limited with 4,992,597 units was the volume leader, followed by Lasco Distributors Limited and Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited. In Trinidad and Tobago, Massey Holdings was the volume leader with 243,039 shares changing hands for a value of just over 950,000 Trinidad and Tobago dollars, followed by Republic Financial Holdings Limited. And here in Barbados, no stocks were traded today.
The weather with Carrie-Ann O'Neill. Time now for a weather update with Carrie-Ann O'Neill. Carrie-Ann?
Well, good evening to you, Tisha, and good evening, everyone. The high-pressure system was our dominant feature today. As a result, we had fair to partially cloudy skies along with some light showers. Now, the winds, they are moderate and they're peaking at 20 knots. Meanwhile, the seas, they remain above normal. We do have a small craft as well as high surf advisory in effect. The maximum temperature today was 29 degrees Celsius, the minimum 22 degrees. At present, the temperature stands at 26 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity 78%. Those winds are coming in from the east. We take a look now at our atmospheric conditions, where the temperatures are ranging from 25 to 26 degrees Celsius. The humidity shows it's relatively dry across most of the islands except for Trinidad, and those winds are moderate across the region. We take a look now at our satellite feed, where the high pressure system was our dominant feature. We experienced fair to partly cloudy skies along with just a few light showers. We had up to 9.8 millimeters of rainfall. Meanwhile, the winds, they're peaking at 20 knots. The seas moderate to rough in open water, with swells peaking at 3 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. Now, later on tonight, we can expect partly cloudy skies along with a few light showers. Further south across the Guianas, they had some afternoon showers across that area. Over now in the Western Caribbean, light showers prevailed across most of the islands. Well, that's our first look at the weather. After the break, we'll have the forecast. Welcome back. In the forecast for tomorrow, the sun is expected to rise at 19 minutes after 6 and will set at 5 minutes past 6. Now, the first high tide is expected at 8 minutes after 8 in the morning, the first low at 1:37 in the early morning. Those seas moderate to rough in open water, with swells peaking at 3 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. The winds, they're coming in from the east and they're peaking at 35 kilometers per hour. For us here in Barbados tonight, we can expect partly cloudy skies along with a few light showers. And over the next 3 days, a mix of sunshine, clouds, and showers can be expected.
Time for even more sports news, so Damien Best is back.
Thanks so much, Tisha. Well, defending champions Burger King Clapham Bulls and 246 Mobile Shop City United Celtics remain unbeaten as the 2025 Cooperators General Insurance BABA Premier League continued at the BCC Gym on Sunday night. Island Care Ambulance Service and Body by B Lakers were also in winner's row. Let's take a look. BCC Gym, the venue, Lakers with the blue and yellow trim taking on Combined Schools Tridents from the tip. Keith Burkett lights out, nothing but net. Joshua Harvey says two can play that game. Eye candy, that is a 3. But it was the Lakers who dominated the first half, led by a game-high 32 points from Burkett. In fact, he had a double-double with 14 rebounds. Tridents down by 16 points at the break would need more of this. Nathaniel Scott, pull-up J is good. Lakers 41, Tridents 25. Better effort from the schoolboys in the second half. Zane Gaskin attacking the interior, part of his 14 points. On the score sheet, Cade Belgrave's effort paid dividends as well. A team-high 16, Tridents 55, Lakers 56, heading into the fourth. The Lakers made some adjustments and started to click offensively again. McCurry, Jones, right down Broad Street, feed to Scott Wharton. Not pretty, but efficient. The Lakers would eventually pull away to win the contest 83-78. Wharton 12 and Jamil Singh 15 in the W over the Tridents. Second fixture, City United Celtics versus Heat in the green. Celtics on the board first via Delaney Hurley, poured in 19 points. Jared Allen was in top form as well. Double-double, 20 points, coupled with 10 rebounds, 3 of his 6 from beyond the arc here. Celtics up by 15 at halftime, 45-30. Kasarian Adams with the bucket and the fall, had the hot hands, 23.7 boards. The second half underway, change of ends, the Heat desperate for some rhythm. Rashid Moore with the energy, nice floater in the lane. Raheem Catwell followed up, crossover and drive. Running floater is money. But the Celtics were on a different planet in the scoring column, up 75-45 to end the third and catapulting further into the lead in the fourth, 81-55 at one stage before shutting the shot for good, winning 86-62. Filthy from Aline. Put it in super slow-mo, please, before we go. All righty, over and out. Third and final game then of the night. Prime time, Clapham Bulls in orange versus Station Hill Cavaliers. Good defense leads to better offense. Rashid Maynard from the wing, sugar.
Gavin Phillips had the replay on speed dial. Says, can you hear me now? One of two players to score 20 points. But the Bulls would hold a slender 1-point lead at halftime. Captain Andrew Eiffel, the old-fashioned three, bucket and the foul. And he would sink the free throw as well. The Bulls leading 41-40 against the Cavs at halftime. Antoine Winter to the rack with authority. Great expectations for the second half then. Zachary Cave, a perfect 2 of 2 from that range. Adriel Brathwaite, a helping hand off the bench as well. Up and in. Akeem Marsh, imposing figure in the paint. Bulls lead 89-75 with 5 minutes left. The Bulls kicking at both ends of the court. Fast break on Simeon Maynard, who had 19 points to Eiffel. Easy does it. The Bulls will not look back, eventually winning the matchup 95-81 over the Cavaliers.
And in the night's other match, Pinelands beat Warren's All-Stars 73-67. Skipper Rashad Hall led Pinelands with a game-high 31 points. Well, back to some track and field news now as the Athletics Association of Barbados track and field season continues to heat up. The Louis Lynch Championships at the Usain Bolt Sports Complex was the latest event on the calendar. CBC's Amory Burt takes a look at the sprints.
Right into the fast lane with the under-17 girls, and it's a name that will ring a bell. She is the one to beat in lane number 3 and moving like a freight train is Rajada Hines in the Allen School's navy yellow and burgundy. With just about 10 to go, she put in that last gear to cross the line in 12.68 seconds, just ahead of Savannah Thorne there on the outside and Jazara Levine. The under-17 boys shot out the blocks, and the first 50 was Evan Stevens coming at us 8 the hard way. But zooming to lane number 4 in the blue and white for Talents, he went into overdrive, bringing Cody Small right there with him. That's Darian Balgrave, your winner in 11.10 seconds. Small was second in 11.25, and dipping in for third, Nathan Hoda, 11.61. Phew, that was a quick one. A sneak peek of what's to come for BSAC as the under-20 boys are coming our way. A field of 7 and Sir Any wants to take on to the last 50 as Tion Haynes engaged the North and stepped ahead, coming to the line in 10.91 seconds ahead of Shamari Adamson and Kevion Newton. Those times were 11.04 and 11.10 seconds. Women's 100 meters on a full field, all the running in the center lanes. And let me tell you, the ladies look in form, but this time none better than Anaya Nurse. She had them done and dusted in 11.73 seconds. Behind her, the talents duo of Kelia Benton and Alika Harewood, 12.01 and 12.09 seconds. And to the open men, it'll be over in 10.77 seconds just to see who would be the one to stake claim to that winning time. Blink and you might miss it. To the line with the lean into extreme velocities. Green is Amani Masker Beckles, head of Shamari Shepherd Rollins and Jaden Green. Those times were 10.78 and 10.82 seconds. We're now getting into the thick of things for the 2025 track and field season.
Yeah, thanks so much, Amory. Well, the Barbados Olympic Association has started the rollout of its educational and funding programs for 2025. Annually, the BOA spends around $5 to $7 million, or 70 to 75% of its total revenue on athletes, federations, coaches, games education, and training. Now, this year, with some major games scheduled, the financial wheels are already in motion.
We've also completed our annual allocation of funding to national federations, and after our annual one-on-one meetings with each of them to get a better understanding of their plans and operations, their funding requirements, and of course any challenges that they may be encountering. The final phase of our funding program, and this is pretty much the only thing that's outstanding now in terms of funding for the year, will be to confirm the athletes who will be recommended for Olympic Solidarity Scholarships and those who will benefit from direct funding based on their assigned funding category, elite, high performance, or development.
With that pledge of continuing to support the development and growth of this island's sportsmen, women and federations, the BOA has sought to do a formal assessment of their current stakeholder engagement.
For the first time in recent months, we have engaged cadres to conduct a survey for us, a survey of the public as well as our key stakeholders like athletes and national federations, to give us a better sense of awareness of what the BOA does, where we sit in terms of their own consciousness, and whether we are indeed fulfilling, their needs, certainly when it comes to the athletes and the national federations and so on. So I just want to say that I think that this survey will hopefully give us the opportunity to have a better pulse on how we engage, the various stakeholders, including the public.
And that is my time for sports tonight. Tisha, it's back over to you.
Thank you so much, Damien. Well, that's Newsnight. Thanks for spending your time with us. On behalf of the entire crew, have a good evening.